All right, ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, it is time. It is time for a brand new week, a brand new episode of Student of the Gun Radio. What do we got to talk about today? Well, Attack of the Killer Canes, but not the canes you're thinking about, or maybe the canes you're thinking about. I don't know. Can you outrun a charging bear? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what Outdoor Life has to say. They're going to give us the advice. I thought this was interesting because this article came out like a week after our last bear story. Mm-hmm. It's amazing to me all these years later, like decades later, how we're still humans are just it makes me wonder, Jared, how the guys like the philosophers felt. They're sitting around talking and like, people just won't learn. They just refuse to learn from history. Like, no, history doesn't matter because I wasn't born then. And nothing that happened before I was born is pertinent or relevant.
I've got a question for you guys that Jared might be interested in coming in on. Do you think that right now, where we are in the world, is the worst time in history of, the past was stupid, it doesn't matter?
Of people ignoring the past?
Yes, like actively being like, who gives a shit about all that stuff?
Yeah, you're just going to keep swearing, aren't you?
I'm writing it down.
You're just going to keep, Zach's the potty mouth.
Apparently I am.
You guys are always all over me, like, Paul effing Markle over there. And it was like, I'm like a choir boy over here. I'm just like, zoop.
Hey, but the point is, do you think right now this current generation is the worst about not caring or dismissing
about history, about ignoring history?
Yeah.
I would say that's a tough question because obviously
based upon my studies, I don't think that's the case. However, I do think that this generation is the most detached from reality of all generations.
Yes.
For sure.
Because there's something that they can play with.
They're a constant distraction.
To do with reality, right?
Yeah.
So it detaches them from the metaphysics of life.
Yeah. That's something that we harped on for years and years about the value of the 4-H shooting sports program is it's tangible. It's real. You're actually you're engaging in something real. And
not only are you doing that, but you're forced to solve problems with your brain very quickly because you have to do that before you pull the trigger on a gun.
Yeah, or bow or anything
or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before
you have to
release the trajectory from a deadly tool. You have to solve a problem with your brain.
Not only that, but the great thing about the physics of shooting sports is it's not feelings based. The clay target that's flying through the air, it's either going to break or it's not. And if it doesn't break, it's not because of your feelings. The target doesn't care about your feelings or your self-identity or whatever. You either have to do everything correctly, you have to mentally discipline, you have to use your brain to discipline your body to do what you've been taught, or it's not going to happen. You can't cry.
I call
fake news.
You know why?
Why?
Because some of the targets come out broken, so they clearly were paying attention to the shooter's feelings.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it. When a target comes out broken, it knew you wanted.
I needed an easy target at that time.
Yeah, but you don't get a mulligan on that one. They don't count it as a broken target when it comes out broken. Yeah. Speaking of broken and speaking of targets, we're going to talk here in a little bit, not right now, about a brand new shotgun that I was actually pretty impressed with. I'm actually pretty impressed with it. And it's hard to impress me because I'm pretty jaded.
Me too.
Very rarely does something come out. So a new gun comes out and I'm like, like these Instagram models, whenever SIG releases a new anything, they're just like, that's the greatest thing in the history of the world. I'm like, calm down. It's not that great. It's just flat, dark earth.
If it doesn't have a happy switch, I'm not very excited about it.
Calm down.
It's like
you're like, what is Paul mimicking there? I don't know.
Sometimes I
Which
forget how
Instagram
dated I
model?
am until I'm talking to somebody about a new widget or whatever that's come out.
Oh.
They're super excited about it, and I'm just over here like, it's got trigger and goes
Oh
bang.
man!
I'm like,
Oh,
I
you
kinda
don't
feel-
even know.
I kind of feel bad that I'm not as excited as you are about this.
Yeah, you don't even know. It's like, yeah, I do. Actually, I do know. It's like when they come up with these, people are like, "What do you think about the new striker fired gun?" It's like, you mean the new HK Glock, or is it the CZ Glock, or is it Smith and Wesson Glock? Which new Glock is it? Shut up! It's not. It's. I remember when people were like, "You heard about the new HKP 3000?" And I'm like, "No." Like, "Oh, it's the greatest thing ever." And so I looked it up, and I was like, "So it's a German Glock?" Or like, "No, that's not it at all. Like, it's the greatest, coolest." Like, okay. You know what HK stands for, right? It's actually the P30, not P3000. It stands for hates customers. That was one of the funniest things that I ever encountered. Was when when someone said HK stands for hates customers, and it's true. It's true. There's
a better acronym for.
They don't care. You're like, but what if you didn't? They're like, shut up. We don't care. We don't care what you think. We really don't. We didn't make it for you poors. We didn't make these for the poors or the people who aren't spending government money. If you're spending tax money, now we'll talk to you. If you're just like a poor in a gun shop, we don't care. Oh, come on, Paul. You're never going to get HK as a sponsor with an attitude like that.
Well, at least they know their customers. At least they prioritize their ideal customer.
That's right. Cole did that. Colt's like, we sell guns to the Army.
They're doing really well.
Fornicate the consumer. Yeah, they did really well right into receivership. Right into multiple bankruptcies.
They might have reached their goal. You don't know.
Yeah. Oh, every gun company does that. Everyone they get too big for their britches, they start sniffing their own farts. Like Smith and Wesson in the 90s, they're like, every law enforcement agency that matters carries a Smith and Wesson, and we don't care about you. Matter of fact, we're going to release guns that aren't ready to be released. We're just going to release them, and then when you complain, we'll say, we don't care. We sell guns.
As a company, do you know how you stop yourself from getting too big for your britches?
I don't know.
It's simple nowadays. There's these things called yoga pants that apparently don't rip. You put those on, wear those as your britches, and then you can grow as big as
a butt as possible. Yeah. There you go.
You're good.
Oh, everybody's out there like, man, is there any gun company that Paul likes? I like a lot of gun companies, but I also speak the truth. And Smith and Wesson they were New England snobs. Oh, in the 90s, it's like, everyone buys, every major law enforcement agency in America carries our guns. We're the top. We'll never not be the top. What? Is it still true today?
Still true today.
No, every major law enforcement agency.
It ebbs and flows.
Yeah, it carries Glocks. That's after the Glock came. They're like, no American law enforcement agency is ever going to buy a plastic gun. Really? See, you guys who are kids, you who were weren't born or were in diapers then, you don't know. Like gun writers. Oh, serious American gun writers. No, that's an interesting novelty. However, no American law enforcement agency will ever buy a plastic gun. Exclamation point. I stake my reputation on it. You know who was way ahead of everybody else back then? You should know, Jared. All the FUD writers are like, Americans will never buy a plastic gun. And somebody said, oh, actually, they're probably going to because this is a really good gun. Ken Hackathorn. Hackathorn was one of the first serious trainers and gun writers in the United States to embrace the Glock 17. He doesn't get credit for that, but he was. When all of his peers were like, Americans will never own a plastic gun.
Which is interesting to me because I know how hardcore Hackathorn is about 1911s.
He's hardcore about him because he's him and Bill are best friends.
Well, and that's also a really high end, maybe not a really high end, but it's a high end 1911.
It is. It's they don't get much higher end than that. Maybe Cabot, the meteorite gun. It's like, well, I want a gun made out of a piece of meteorite.
Yep.
You guys ever even talk about guns?
Some of the 1911 snobs in the audience something to write me about.
You're like,
Jake, I'm looking at you.
Are there any 1911s? Oh, your camera's on autofocus.
Oh,
so when you pointed at it, it went out of focus. It tried to focus on the tip of your finger.
Change that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Don't change it right now. All right, do you guys want to talk about Duracoat?
Do we want to talk about playing the intro?
Oh,
Yeah, we never played the intro. We went off on a bunch of tangents.
yeah, you can do that if you want.
Or we could just say screw it and just jump right into
Just
Duracoat.
do it. No, you have to do it. It's a law.
Intro.
Okay, we'll play the intro.
Welcome to Student of the Gun Radio, proudly brought to you from the SDS Imports studio. If you want quality that's affordable, visit sdsimports.com. We don't just talk guns and gear, we also discuss current events and politics, because guns are politics. Now sit back and listen louder to your co-host, CEO of Full 30, Jared Markle, and your beloved host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Yes, indeed. All right, man. Is the Discord just freaking out as we're talking about everything and anything that comes into our brains? I don't know.
I think we're having a good time.
Are you guys having a good time over there? All right, good. I'm glad you are. We got actually something that's interesting coming up for our Duracoat finished firearm moment. So if you want to just bump us into that, Zach, that'd be great. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Yes, indeed. So recently I was helping somebody out. They had a firearm that they had been handed down to them from their grandfather. But like most hand-me-down guns or, inheritance guns, it had some rust on it. And it was a blued steel gun. So there you're like, ooh. So what and if you guys, all you guys out in the audience, you're like, oh, Paul's talking to me. You ever have a blued steel gun and you put it in the wall safe or the closet? How many of you had an uncle or a grandpa or somebody that used to keep their guns in the soft-sided zipper case stacked up in the back of the closet, right? Probably most of you did. If you didn't do that, and your dad didn't do that, or your uncle didn't do it, your grandfather probably did it, because that's what you used to do. You're like, you got the half leather, half canvas zipper bag from Montgomery Ward or Sears, and you put your blued steel shotgun or your blued steel 22 Marlin or whatever in there, and you put it in the back of the closet. You're like, it'll be good. I mean, it's a closet. It's dark. It's cool. It's dry. Then you pull it out 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years later, and it's orange, or it's half blue and half orange. You're like, oh. Jared, you have to scrape the rust off of a blued steel gun, off of bluing?
No, I haven't done that.
Okay, well, for those in the audience who have, they're like, yeah. So what I do is I get out the wire brush, I get out the COP, the oil, and I scrape and scrub, and I get all that rust off. And guess what's not there anymore?
The bluing.
Now I have these weird silver splotches all over the barrel and the receiver and everything. And you do that. So you're like, well, on one hand, the rust is gone. That's good. But on the other hand, the finish is all effed up. And the truth of the matter is, everywhere that the bluing is gone now is going to rust again. So what do you do? That's a good question. You say, well, I called my gun shop guy and I said, hey, would you re-blue my grandpa's shotgun? And he said, sure, it'll be $297 and I can get it back to you in 6 weeks. And you said, what? But the gun's not even worth $200. I mean, it's worth to me because it's a hand-me-down, but so you kind of, I don't know. And then you think, could I do it myself? The answer is yes. And the answer, obviously, because, well, this is the Duracoat segment. The answer from Duracoat is they actually have a brand new product that they're promoting that they want you to know about, and it's called DuraBlue Badass. This is the badass super protective formula, and this is where DuraBlue kicks the ass of normal firearms bluing. I had somebody ask me, they said, well, if the bluing process doesn't protect it from rust, then why is bluing so popular by manufacturers? Do you know, Jared?
Because it's probably inexpensive.
Because it's cheap. Because it's a very inexpensive and treatment process.
It's probably also easier to apply than other options.
Yeah, well, if you're putting them, now bluing is not easy when you're doing a one-off, but if you have a factory and you're doing 500 barrels a week, yeah, boom, boom, boom.
It is easy when you're doing a one-off now.
Yeah, if you listen to us.
Yeah.
So your normal, if you have your grandpa handed you down a Harrington and Richardson 20 gauge single shot, right? Made in 1978 or 2001, probably not 2001, but you got an old H&R single shot, or you've got a Marlin or whatever, and it had a blued steel finish. That bluing is there to slow down the corrosion process, but you have to oil blued steel guns. You have to oil them continuously. Because if you don't, they're going to rust. That's just it. And then they're going to look like crap. Well, Duracoat actually has stepped up, and not only do they have the DuraBlue process, but it's a DuraBlue Badass, which means it's super corrosion resistant. This is going to be the best, toughest, most resilient bluing that you ever do on a gun. And you can get it in matte finish or polished finish. So if you really want that super shiny, polished blue black that, the gun looked when it was brand new, your shotgun was brand new, came from the factory, and it had that shiny, gun metal blue. If that's what you're looking for, you can do it. And the good news is you put the Duracoat, the DuraBlue on it, and it's not going to rust. And it's going to be scratch resistant and all that good stuff. So if that's something that you're interested in, and I thought that was a good tie-in because, like I said, I helped somebody recently clean up a blued steel hand-me-down gun. And once we got all the rust off, there's just little silver patches where the bluing used to be and now is not. So, there you go. That is your Duracoat finished firearm moment of the week. Let's move on. I'm almost out of coffee. What the F? We were talking too much. SDS. Well, let's see. What this is going out the week of leading into Memorial Day, right? So that means that the NRA annual meeting is this coming weekend. Wow. Yeah. This coming weekend, 27 to 29 in Houston, Texas. What a lovely, wonderful city that is. I have so many fond memories of the city of Houston. I don't know if you do. Almost having to shoot a lunatic on the street in the middle of the day, being extorted, basically strong arm robbery for parking. It's just wonderful. The traffic. Having to get a hotel that was 35 minutes away from the convention center. It's just great. It's awesome. But if you, yes, you, I'm talking to you, there may be some of you in my audience who are going to sojourn, and I know we got a lot of Texas listeners. You're going to make the journey to the NRA annual meeting so that you can get in there and you can walk around and you can hobnob with the cool kids. You can go into all the booths, the Smith & Wesson booths and the Glock booths and the High Point booth. Yes, High Point is going to have a booth there, and they promised to release something new and cool. I'm going to call Kiowaka, and I'm going to ask him about that, but or Charlie Brown. Go there, have a good time, and when you do, make sure that you pop into the booths of the Student of the Gun sponsors, and you say to them, I heard about you on Student of the Gun. I didn't even know you existed until I listened to Paul Markle. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to say that. But thank them. Thank them for sponsoring us.
However, if that is the truth, then absolutely tell them that.
Well, yeah, if it's the truth, if it's absolutely the truth.
Hey, I didn't know who you were until I listened to SOTG radio.
That's right.
You're welcome.
And that could be the case for SDS Imports. SDS Imports is going to have a booth at the SHOT Show, not SHOT Show, sorry, the NRA show, the annual meeting and exhibit. And there, let me hit this up. I want to know what, I bet you their booth number is on their website. What do you think? SCSimports.com, and it's taken forever to load. I don't know why. Is it loading for you guys?
Yes.
Is it there? You got it?
I'm looking at the NRA Expo.
Okay. What's their booth number?
I'm looking.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because they have the super special one-of-a-kind PX9 Gen 3 with a stainless steel slide, black frame. It's got the night vision, the Student of the Gun night vision sights pre-mounted on it. You're going to get, then they're giving it away. It's a giveaway for the show. You're also going to get a CrossBreed holster, for that, a gift certificate for double tap ammunition.
Their booth number is 1509.
There you go, 1509. Booth number 1509 at the NRA annual meeting and exhibits. Go by the SDS Imports booth, and please tell them that Student of the Gun sent ya. Say, hey, Student of the Gun sent me, and they said I could win that super cool G-Wiz pistol. And what I'd like for you guys to do next weekend, if you go, I would like for you to snap a photo of that super cool giveaway pistol so that I can see it. Say, hey, I went there and this is it. So I want to make sure, Jared, that we're thanking everybody. So it's obviously SDS, right? SDS Imports. So you got SDS Imports, who's giving away the PX9 Gen 3 with a stainless steel slide. It's really cool. Then there's obviously the night vision tritium sights. They're the Student of the Gun Accurate sights that they mounted on there. So that CrossBreed Holsters is donating a holster kit. That's going to be there. And double tap. Is there? I'm thinking that there's another one, but maybe that's it.
Did you say night vision?
Yeah, night vision. The night vision Accurate sights are installed on it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And to give you a hint, those are Glock 17 sights because the Gen 3s take Glock 17 sights.
That is awesome.
So all that stuff is going on, and you want to check them out. So there you go. Make sure that you're thanking all of the sponsors if you go there. All right, moving on. What are we moving on to? Oh, speaking of Sierra, Delta Sierra imports, I just picked up a shotgun from these guys, a 12 gauge shotgun. It is called the VP Victor Papa 12. And I actually, you guys are going to be proud of me. Watch. Ta-da! I brought it into the studio. Woo! Look at that. All right, pull that out. Don't want to be an Alec Baldwin here. So, yeah, this is a VP12, 12 gauge Kalashnikov. It's a Kalash me outside. You want to Kalash me outside? If you're looking, you say, this is the left side of the frame. So the charging handle's on the left. They did that kind of funkiness. So the charging handle's on the left side. You've got straight push magazines. The magazines don't rock in. They straight push in like an AR. It has a pick rail on top, so you can mount a red dot on it if you want. If not, it has functional sights. It has I think it's an 18.75-inch barrel. They just call it 19. It's threaded, so you can put a muzzle brake on it. Has AK furniture. So this is actually an AK style stock and an AK style pistol grip. I've had in the past Kalashnikov style or Kalash action, AK action shotguns, and they've been kind of hit or miss. But one of the things that I encountered with the AK style shotguns of the past was that they tended to be really long. I mean, like super long guns. And I compared this one to the one that I already had in stock. And this gun here, this VP12, was about 5 inches shorter than the previous one, the previous 12-gauge shotgun, magazine-fed shotgun that I had. I took this gun out yesterday. It's a good thing I went out yesterday, Jared.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, because it freaking snowed again today. You're like, well, who cares? Just go out in the snow. Yeah, but the road to the range gets all sloppy. It's bad enough with all the runoff and the melt. It's pretty sloppy and nasty. Mm-hmm. But went out to the range. I went actually to the pistol range, pistol / sporting clays range over on the ranch. You know what they did? They moved the daggum herd back into the rifle range.
Yeah, buddy. Got to take care of that.
There's a lot of cows over there and calves. And Jason and the guys just reset all the targets and rebuilt the berms and everything.
Oh man! So there.
And then they moved the herd back in there and
should have waited to reset everything.
And now they're gonna. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna. You guys ever work cattle? They'll be scratching themselves. Yeah, they got itchy backs and itchy sides, and they scratch them on the target frames. And to give you an idea of the power of a beef, either steer or a bull, if the bulls get in there, they're just terrible. They scratch themselves on the T-posts, on the green, the fence posts. They scratch themselves on the T-posts and they push so hard into them that they snap them off. We actually had to pull broken T-posts out of the ground, which is a fun adventure. If you've the ranch and farmers out there in my audience are like, oh yeah, pulling a broken T-post that's only sticking up like 3 inches out of the ground. Yeah, that's a fun adventure. Fortunately, the pistol / sporting clays range is fenced off and the cattle can't get in there. So we went out yesterday and shot a whole bunch of steel targets with this gun, shot a variety of ammunition through it. The only problem I had a couple of failures to completely eject with a lightweight, a Winchester trap load. I had a 12-gauge trap load that was pretty powder puff, Other than that, the normal Federal field load, like the number 7.5 Federal that you get in the boxes at Walmart or whatever, that cycled perfectly fine. Didn't have any problems with it. And this gun, actually, it has an adjustable gas system Let me see if I can get it for the camera. It's actually right there. You can adjust the gas system. So if you have really hard high brass, you can turn the gas down because it's high brass and you don't need that much. And if you got really soft, like field loads or low brass, you can crank the gas system up, turn it up to 3. The gun handles really well. The one thing that's not on here now, they have a big old 12 gauge muzzle brake that you can put on there. I put up some videos on our socialist media. So if you guys want to watch, you can go to our socialist media and watch the videos that we put up. Just a real quick one. But I can tell you this, with that muzzle brake on this gun, shooting field load, it barely moves. If you watch the video, you can see the muzzle barely rises. I was doing, Jared? I was doing my tapping into my inner Jerry Mikulik. I was trying to tap into the inner Jerry Mikulik there. But I had a good time. Took a friend out with me to the range. We shot a whole bunch of video. As a matter of fact, Zach, I haven't told you this, but in Dropbox, there is a whole video series, or not, it's not a series of videos. It's a whole crap ton of videos that I shot yesterday, including a roll to review this gun, the VP12.
Very cool.
So I'm going to go ahead and give it 2 thumbs up, especially as somebody who's been working with semi-auto shotguns for 20, 30 years now. It used to be in our world, if your name wasn't Benelli, your semi-auto shotgun didn't really work that well. There's been a lot of semi-auto shotguns, a lot of magazine-fed shotguns, and my experience back in the 2000s particularly was that magazine-fed semi-auto shotguns that are imported from some other country generally didn't run. They ran like crap. But this gun, like I said, I even shot a 3-inch slug shell out of it just because I wanted to do it to prove it could be done. And you can feel the recoil. Now with the low brass stuff, recoil's nothing. It's nothing because it's gas operated and the spring and the gas take up a lot of the recoil. When you're shooting buckshot and when you're shooting slugs, but still it's not that bad. I mean, not that bad. So there you go. That is something brand new. We're going to do. We'll have a complete review and video of that coming out in the near future. But you guys, you're getting kind of a sneak preview of this. And the thing I was most impressed about, like I said, was the compactness of this gun. So, and it has
mini shells.
No, it won't feed mini shells.
Okay, it won't feed mini shells.
No, 2 3/4 or 3-inch. Yeah, okay. You're not. There's no advantage to the mini shells because it's magazine fed, not tube fed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I wasn't sure if they'd come out with there was an adapter for magazines or whatever now.
Here's the thing: they're so soft recoiling that I'm going to go ahead and guess that your functionality would be crap.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't like the light trap loads, it's not that it didn't fire them, but about, I don't know, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 maybe of the light trap loads. Yeah. The last round would get stuck coming out because it just didn't have quite enough oomph. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yep, it was good. It's a lot of fun. And one more thing that I'm going to tell you guys is it comes with 5-round box magazines, but you can do a 5+1. So what I was doing, what I tested is I'd load one, close the action, then take a full 5-round magazine, shove it in there so you can get 6 without reloading. So, but those 6 go fast. I was able to clean I didn't put that video up. I need to put that video up. I was able to clean a 6-round or a 6-plate rack. I did the plate rack thing with the bird shot. Bang, 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 bang. Like I said, I was trying to tap into my inner Jerry Mikulik there. All right. Enough shotgun talk. Now it's time for me to be quiet and Zach to play the music.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a complimentary online training course called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. Get instant access by joining the Student Lounge for free at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of these questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
Yes, indeed. All right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So we've got some news from our boys at Brownells. So without further ado, I'm not going to talk. Let Zach play the music, and then we'll get into it. Boom. All right. Zach, while I'm talking, will you drop the Shop SOTG link for the new book in there?
Sure thing. No problem.
All right. So I went to brownells.com, and you guys, in the world that we live in today, we live in a different world. 5-6 years ago, well, basically before Comrade Barry, if you wanted something, didn't matter what it was, 45 Colt, 6 Creed, or I don't even know if there was a 6 Creed then, but whatever. You just kind of assume that it's going to be there, right? You're like, well, it's no big deal. If and when I want that, I'll just go to the store and I'll buy it. I'll just go online and I'll buy it, right? You don't have to worry about supplies or shortages or anything like that. It's just there for me. That is no longer the world in which we live. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that, and I'm not going to get into them, but the fact of the matter is, if you need things, whatever those things are, whether it's primers or cases or loaded ammunition, often it's going to not be there. And what's going on in our world now is that, we've got, remember when I was surprised by the 209 primer shortage, or you might not remember, but there was a 209 shotgun primer shortage. For whatever reason, everybody bought them up. I don't know, these guys are like prepping for the doomsday and they're buying them 10,000 at a shot or what, but they're gone. They're gone. So I just went to Brownells and they've got 209 primers in stock. I'm not going to tell you to hoard them, but here's the deal. If you have something that uses 209 primers, you might want to think about getting over there and picking up a few. I don't know. I'm just going to wait for the price. This is that guy. You see that guy, Jared? See him? He just said, "Oh, I'm gonna wait for the price to come down." Okay. And then you're going to cry like a little baby because in 3 months you can't find any. And they're all gone. The hoarders bought them. The hoarders bought them. You ever notice, Jared, when people procrastinate and then they wait till the last second to get something and then it's not there. They're like, oh, the hoarders. Oh. You had the same opportunity as everybody else did. Yeah, but I thought I would just wait because I'm intellectually lazy. Okay. Something else, it's not a smoking deal, but it's kind of one of those deals where, do you want the ammo? So Brownells has a deal. You get 10 PMags, which is never a bad thing, right? 10 PMags and 1,000 rounds of ammo. And the ammo is PMC brass-cased X-Tac ammo. So it's not cheap ammo. It's not Wolf or Tula or something like that. It's real high-quality ammunition. 62 grain, green tip, but it's not the... it is the green tip penetrator. It's actually the, M885. Is it M885? I think it is. Wow. You say, well, I don't need that. I don't want it. I'm not. And it's actual 5.56 ammo, not 223. It's 5.56. It's, you know what you put that in, right, Jared? What What is the gun that's supposed to feed green tip?
The pimp hand.
The saw.
Yeah.
The saw. The SAW. If you've got a saw, that's what you feed your saw. So people out there in the audience, that guy over there, see him? He's not in the front. He's kind of over there. He's like, what? Oh, a saw? Is he talking about like a chainsaw or something? Or I don't get it. You don't get it, but that's okay. If you really, really, really want to feed your saw, what you do, Jared, is you pop over and they have one of the 60-round drums, one of the Magpul 60-round drums with 1,000 rounds of 5.56 green tip.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't like those drums because they take a long time to load. Okay. Okay. Some get it, some don't. But this is my advice to you. I would go to, what is it? Text 223-556 BRN to text BRN to 556-223. If you text BRN to 556-223, when something like this, the ammunition comes back in stock, the 209 primers come back in stock. When that happens, you're going to get a text that says, hey, want you to know these are back in stock, because we're living in a different world now. We're not living in the world where you can just, whenever I feel like it, it'll be there. It's not waiting for you. Is that too hard or harsh of a statement, Jared? The products today,
No, it's not. Yeah.
They're not just going to sit on a shelf waiting patiently for you to show up. And you say that's kind of a weird way to phrase it. Well, okay. But right now you can get 1,000 209 primers for $74, $74.99. You say, that's not a good deal. I remember when they were only 50 for 1,000. Yeah, I remember when a lot of things happened, but that ain't the world we're living in. So, yeah, I remember when gas was $1.89 a gallon 2 years ago. Remember that? We screwed that up, didn't we, America? No, but we're saving the planet. We're saving the planet for the sparrows and the spotted owls. So while your kids are starving and you're going bankrupt, at least the spotted owls are safe. Yeah, there you go. Maybe we're going to be eating spotted owl for dinner in the near future. But that's a totally different story. So if you guys want to check out all the good things that Brownells has, go to brownells.com. And of course, they're going to have a booth at the NRA, so make sure you're thanking those guys. And if you have more dollars than cents, you can drop $4,000 on an FN Scar. Who is doing that?
The novelty.
Who is doing that? Who is spending $4,200 on a rifle, on a battle rifle?
We're jaded. Remember that.
Dude, if I have $4,200, it's gonna be shooting 338 or higher.
Yeah,
it's gonna be shooting 338 or higher. It's gonna be shooting 0.50 BMG for that much money. You're like, you can't get a BMG for $4,200. Au contraire, mon frère. Au contraire, mon frère. Speaking of which, just as a side note, make a note for yourself to follow up with that guy. And Brownells, we like to talk about hardware, right? So we talk about shooting. There is a brand new book out by yours truly, this guy right here. It's called the Precision Rifle Range Book. Now, those of you that know me, there's a few in the audience, probably not many. How many of you have been following me as a writer since 1996? 1997. There might be one or two of you out there. I think it was 97. I think I started at 96, but I didn't actually finish it and publish it till 97. In 97, I published a book called the Tactical Rifle Range Book. And when I say I published it, I published it. I wrote it, printed it, bound it, assembled it, put it in the envelopes, and mailed it to you. It all came from me. It was this guy. It was me sitting at my kitchen table with stacks of components and priority mailer envelopes and everything. So we're a little more. I'm very grateful to be more advanced than that now, that I don't actually have to go to take the master copy to a printer, have them print it, pick it up. Talk about being a caveman. Talk about being a caveman. Like, well, I got to go to the printer and pick that up. And then what? Yeah, I was putting the covers on the books, everything. So I found one of those in a desk drawer, I don't know, a couple months ago. I sent a picture to the boys, and the boys were like, what is that? And it was rough. I mean, it was rough. It had good information in it, but the book was kind of rough. I mean, let's face it. So I decided I'm going to rewrite that book. And I started, my original plan was just to put the information that was in that book, to just copy it verbatim. That didn't last. So I put all that information down, and then I kept going and I kept going. And I decided, you know what? I've been shooting rifles, precision rifles since the year 1987. So you do the math there, kids. I'm going to take all that information, or as much of it as I can, and I'm going to put it down in book form. So I did. Foundational marksmanship principles, shooting positions, consistency, choosing the best optics, understanding precision rifle terms, because we need to all be able to speak the same language, calling your shots, self-evaluation, the importance of a spotter, and much, much more. It's in a easy to read, easy to digest book called the Precision Rifle Range Book from this guy. And the link is in the show notes. If you're a freak and you have to have it right now, you can get a Kindle. Even if you get the Kindle, I would suggest getting a physical paper copy. You know, that's me, just me. So there you go. Another book. And I'm that guy. When I finish a book, if I don't have another book in the works, I kind of feel wrong. So I started another book.
Good.
I started another book. And for those of you that are planning to take the precision rifle course here in August, one of the bennies, everybody who takes the precision rifle training course is going to get one of these books. We're going to give it to them when they arrive. So you're welcome. All right. So that is that, Mr. That's That. Oh, and you want us to hear something cool? You said, yes, I do want to hear something cool. This last weekend, now obviously it's Monday when we're recording this. We release it on Wednesday. But on Saturday, oh, it got knocked out, you son of a biscuit eater. The book was the #1 new release on Amazon on Saturday. Let's see who's the slimy twinkle toad. I can't say all of it. Who just signed his own death warrant? Was it you? I bet it was you. Let's see. Oh, you know who it was?
Huh.
Masad Ayub.
Oh.
So
we're on the phone and say, hey, man, what's going on here?
What's up, jerk? So his book is #1. His is the #1 new release. And right now ours is sitting at #2.
Well, so that's the challenge accepted. The audience should help.
Yeah. Students of the gun who are listening to me right now, what's up with that? What's up with that? It's a good thing I took a screenshot of it. It is actually kind of cool that somebody that I know personally, that I am personally friends with, is to knock me out of the number.
At least you know it's
one
somebody
spot
with great information.
Yes. Yeah. It's somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, as opposed to some of these other people that I know who they are and they don't know what they're talking. Oh, yes. So check that out, guys. Check out the Precision Rifle Range book. All right, moving on. I guess it's time for me to be quiet and Zach to talk.
ShopSOTG.com is the perfect place to go if you are a student of the gun. Whether you want to expand your brain, increase your marksmanship, or help keep your family safe. All that, plus the pimp hand brands that you love. ShopSOTG.com has almost anything that an American patriot would want. Education, enlightenment, and entertainment, and we're open 24/7. Check out ShopSOTG.com today and see for yourself.
Yes, indeed. And I have a question for you, Jared. Did you take the proof copy that I gave you and put it on the back of your toilet so that you can read it?
I did.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Have you opened
No,
the
it doesn't
cover?
really go on the back of the toilet. It goes on the shelf. That's
The
right
shelf.
there next to the potty. But
Well, whatever.
it's there. It's there where I can grab it while I'm doing my biz.
There you go. Did you open it and look at it yet?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, moving on. It's time to move on. It's time to move on to the Student of the Gun Homeroom, brought to you by CrossBreed Holsters. CrossBreed Holsters is just, they're going crazy. They're going Looney Tunes. They got so many freaking holster designs now. I can't keep up. I saw an ad where they were promoting the ST2. And I thought to myself, the ST2? And I said to myself, duh, it stands for Super Tuck. Oh, so it is the Super Tuck 2, the ST2. It is a modified, upgraded version of the Super Tuck Deluxe, which is not called anything else. It's just called the Super Tuck Deluxe. Yes. and
Zach, did you put that in a crossword puzzle? That'll be the old school guys.
Oh, yeah.
How would I phrase that, though? Would I just put the whole thing? Because that'd be like 20 characters.
No,
no. I'll help you with that. I have an idea. We can't.
I would
talk
say
about it right now because
it's the blank commemorative.
Yeah.
I said it says.
Don't give too much hints.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, the blank commemorative. We've had some fun, haven't we? Sometimes at other people's expense, but please, Paul, tell your audience to stop asking for that. The poor girls up in the customer service, they're just flummoxed.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So the homeroom is brought to you by CrossBreed. When you go there, use the promo code SOTG, save some money, be a cool guy. All right. All right, Jared. You have the outdoorlife.com story open.
Yeah, 13 yards in 1 second.
That's right.
Never outrun a charging bear. Well, they just gave up the nut of the story right there.
Yeah, I was like, well,
read anything else.
I guess I'm done. Moving on.
There is a graphic image warning here, though.
Oh, there is.
Sometimes happen so quickly that there's nothing you can do to stop them, and you certainly cannot run. Well, if you zigzag. Just like they say about crocodiles and whatnot, but in reality, you just run a straight line. They couldn't catch you anyway.
Yeah.
Editor's note says we originally told the story back in 2016 when Bob Eater told his chilling account of a brutal bear attack to Tyler Friel, who spent a lot of time hunting in grizzly country. The story is a sobering reminder that although we may think we have bear safety figured out, reality can be much different. It's one of those things you don't really know until you know. It seems like every spring here in Alaska, we are faced with stark reminders of how dangerous bears can be.
Can I stop you right there?
No.
Okay. I tell you what, read the first paragraph because I've got to editorialize.
Okay. Especially in the spring, after a winter of not really having to worry about it, we can get really complacent. It's been a somewhat early spring here this year, and this was back in 2016. And already there have been at least 2 confirmed maulings by either grizzlies or brown bears.
So we talked about this earlier. Did we talk about this on the pre-show about how it is that
not remembering history or whatever?
Not learning from history? They're like, it seems like every year we have to be reminded, okay, as adult humans, right? At some point, we have to take responsibility for our own lives, right? Every year, it's almost like the first snow of the year, and people are wrecking their cars like lunatics, and you're like, it's Minnesota. It snows every year. What are you doing? Why are you acting like this is the first time how many of you live in an area where, come November, December, the first snow, when it's like a 1/4 inch, people are losing their minds. You're like, is this the first snow you've ever seen? Did you just come here from Mars and this is the first time you ever saw snow? What is going on? We've got to, I know I keep going back to, history, and we talk about the development, Elmer Keith, and the development of the 44 Magnum and why. That's not new. But I digress. So
if you draw a parallel to self-defense and tactical training, then there's also the same thing that goes on there where people don't really, it's like the thought process, it's not going to happen to me because I'm a good person and blah, blah, blah. It's probably the same thing with car wrecks and bear attacks and everything else. It's like, well, it won't happen to me because I'm special or whatever. And then it does happen to you and you're like, oh, dang, I could have been more prepared probably.
It also doesn't help when you have people in the media that every single animal attack, extremely rare, almost never happens. Well, until it does.
Might be true, but it still does happen. So
yeah, it's like that doesn't help you when you're the one being mauled by the bear. You're like, hold on, Mr. Bear, this is extremely rare and it almost never happens. Except that we have stories like every month of bears or mountain lions or coyotes or wolves or whatever, or even bobcats. Even bobcats.
Yeah. Maybe there's just too many people on the earth. Who knows?
You down with the Klaus Schwab Unsere New World Order?
Yeah.
We are going to starve 1 billion people to death.
Even though I'm in bear country frequently and have several close encounters, I always get complacent because I know the chances are slim. Wow, I just literally just said this.
Wow.
I know the chances are slim that I'll be attacked when I'm unprepared. The unfortunate fact about bear attacks, though, is that if we knew they were going to happen, they wouldn't.
See, that's
exactly what I was just saying.
Jared, what is the hierarchy? What is painted on the window? What is on the wall in tactical response? The hierarchy
mindset,
of self-defense.
Tactics,
mindset,
skill, and gear.
Tactics, skill, gear. Mindset. What this guy just did is he explained the failure mindset of everyone who, whatever, was mugging victim, whatever. That is mindset. It determines your choices, how you behave. We talked about this here. Remember how the guy, you're like, my wife's like, I get home, I'm relaxing, and the wife's like, hey, did you remember to grab milk? No. Well, I need it to finish dinner. So you're all in your relaxed clothes. You've taken off your gun and everything. And so you grab your keys and you're thinking, I'm only going to be gone for 15 minutes. What could possibly happen to me in the 15 minutes it takes me to leave here, run to the store, go in, get the milk, go back to the parking lot, get my car, and come back? Nothing will happen. That's mindset. Nothing happens until it happens. Mindset. And what this guy just said, he's like, well, I know that probably won't happen. That's the difference between the victim
I think
and the
that
victor.
he was acknowledging that mindset exists. And he probably was just being empathetic with the audience.
Yeah.
He says, in that way, bear attacks are a little like lightning. We know that when the conditions are ripe for a strike, but we don't always take the necessary precautions to avoid one. And just like lightning, by the time you realize you are vulnerable, things happen so fast it can be hard to avoid the consequences. And so if you put a story around it, it's exactly what Dad just said about the dude that comes home and he's like, man, I don't want to go get this milk because I'm relaxing. It takes me so long to put all this stuff back on. So I'm just going to, put my shirt on or put a jacket on or whatever and go.
Just screw it. Yeah. I mean, I had Jared, do you remember the story?
In reality, the 30 seconds that it takes to, if you have a bag with stuff already in it, you just grab the bag and go and you're good to go. But the 5 minutes even that it takes to put all your stuff back on is well worth the if you do a benefit risk analysis, it's well worth the time that it takes to put it on.
For those guys who've been with us for a while, you remember my story about my good friend who's a U.S. Army Special Forces combat veteran who encountered that situation.
Yep.
We're running late. Crap. We're all dragging the anchor. We got to get little Jimmy to school. Crap. I'm in my flip-flops, my shorts, t-shirt, grab my keys and my phone, out the door. Because all we're doing is taking Jimmy to school, coming back. Nothing is possibly going to happen. And then
done that route 500 times.
10 minutes later, there's a road rage incident and the guy's standing there with a knife in his hand. And you've got your gym shorts, your t-shirt, and your cell phone. And you say, how does that happen? Well, it happens because of human complacency, mindset. That's when, Jared and I, we came to these microphones, and this is years, so a lot of people are probably new, and they're like, what? We talked about the go bag, or what do we call it? The everything bag, or the all bag, or the whatever.
We should call it the fundamental 4-pack.
The 4-pack. But you can't have too many things because then it gets lost. But yeah, it's called the 4-pack. And we did one and we assembled it and showed it to you guys. And what it is it's a sling bag, a single strap bag. There's all kinds of them online. And you put in the fundamental 4. And what are those? Lethal, sharp, bright, medical. Lethal, sharp, bright, medical. And you hang it on a hook. And here's the deal. The stuff that's in the bag stays in the bag. You say, oh, well, I'll put my favorite gat in it. But then sometimes I want to play with my favorite gat, so I'll take it out. And then I'll put it back in. And then eventually what happens is you just don't. And then when you grab the bag, the whole point of the bag is to have everything in the bag when it's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
the bag stays filled.
The bag stays filled. We don't take stuff out of the bag. We don't use it for something else and blah, blah, blah. And if you do, you have to discipline yourself mindset to put it back. This right here, that's the reason I wanted to talk about this, other than the fact that he's like, sometimes there's just nothing you can do. And Elmer Keith is up there on a cloud. And he's like, yes, there is something you can do. What is this defeatist mentality? It's 240 grains of something you can do. Why did I do all that work? It was kind of like, Elmer Keith was kind of like the Moses of handgun hunting and handguns. He went up onto a mountain in Idaho. He stayed up there for a while and he came back down and he said, look what I have for you. It's called the Model 29 44 Magnum. And if you shoot a bear, it will fornicate into another direction with this. Like, why did I give you guys this thing for you to forget about it? I did all that work. And I was like, here you go. Take this. And this is your bear medicine. And then people in 2019, 2016, 20, like, we don't know what to do. We're just not sure. I mean, sometimes there's nothing you can do, so just lay down and take it. You know what I wish I could do, Jared? I wish I could resurrect Elmer Keith for one day and show him a can of bear spray? You're like, what?
That's interesting.
You're like, he's like, well, hell, if I'd have had that, I wouldn't have had to invent the 44 mag. Shazam! Shazam! I wouldn't have had to invent the 44 mag if only someone would have told me about bear spray in 1962. Oh, man. So a bear, what does it say? How fast? 13 yards in 1 second.
Yeah, it says that in the title. So that's pretty fast.
But can a bear go 1,200 feet per second? No, it can't. I don't think a bear can go 1,200 feet per second. Well, you just want to shoot bears. No, I just want to stay alive. People don't get killed in bear attacks. They don't. Well, it almost never happens. Almost never? Okay, there you go. You almost never get robbed on the way to the gas station. You almost never get robbed at the grocery store. So,
I was just looking at the
carry a gun
of this attack.
The owies.
The dude said the attack lasted no longer than 15 seconds, but crazy amount of damage was done.
Yeah. That's this chest is 4 claws. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. And 13 yards in 1 second. I was actually talking to somebody this past weekend two guys that don't like to carry their gun with a round in the chamber. And we've already boiled the reason that happens is because the person that's carrying the gun isn't competent or confident enough in their own skills that they won't shoot themselves. But they say that, it's part of my draw process. Like, I don't care if it's part of your draw process or not. It's still going to 13 yards in 1 second. If it adds more than a second onto your draw process, which it does, we've done studies on video for this. We know that it adds more than 1 second, no matter how fast you are. Then that second, that time that you're taken to chamber the round could be the reason that you die.
Yeah. Or it could be the reason that someone who's relying upon you for their protection dies.
Yeah. You got kids with you or whatever.
Yeah. Your wife, your kids. So, yeah, those kind of people, I don't even know how to talk to them anymore. It's like, wow, there's so much information available. I mean, I can see when people weren't carrying guns in America, like in the 80s,
but everybody
and the 90s.
has their own, there's this path now there is a well-worn path from not carrying a gun to carrying a gun, but everybody still has to go down that path. And there's still waypoints, right? So some people are at that point in their carry journey where they don't trust themselves enough not to carry, or they don't trust themselves enough to carry with a actually fully loaded gun. And the next step after that is getting training or whatever you have to do to go from not trusting yourself to trusting yourself. And so the best thing that we can do is just help them expedite that path, expedite that journey. Because we're at the front of this path where we've been doing it for so long. We've been part of the wearing the path down for people. So now all we can do is we've put these waypoints in place. Now we just have to help expedite from point A to point B.
Yeah. So part of what Jared just said, the big problem is I'm going to carry a handgun for self-defense. Cool. I think you should do that. That's a fantastic idea. But I don't have time or money or inclination to take training because I'm a smart person. I know what I'm doing. No, you're not. And no, you don't. And if you haven't gone to training and you're carrying a gun, you're like, what are you trying to say, Paul? You think it should be mandated? No, I don't think it should be mandated. I think you should be a mature, responsible adult and make the correct decision and do the right thing without the state having to club you over the head. See, that's the difference between freedom and slavery. Freedom is making the right choice. And when you make the right choice, you have liberty. Remember that, Jared? Or no, actually it's the opposite, liberty. Liberty is the ability to make good choices. Mm-hmm. And when you have liberty and you make good choices, then you end up with freedom. Mm-hmm. So if you're out there and you're like, well, I'm a smart guy, I've been shooting my whole life. First of all, no, you haven't. Second of all, you're not that smart. When
I
it
know
comes,
one kid that has been shooting his whole life.
there's one kid, there's one person,
One kid on
that, and there's videographic evidence of that. Other than that, you have not been shooting your whole life. You were not in diapers, cacking rounds. Yeah, no, you weren't. Quit lying.
My experience is that anybody that says that thing in the first place, if you say I'm smart enough, doesn't matter what the skill is that you're talking about, I'm smart enough, I know how to do that, you probably need to definitely get training.
Oh, yeah. I'm a smart person. I don't know what to do. Really? Cool.
Luckily,
Here's a
I'm
wrench.
never
Go.
had to-
Here's a
I've
wrench.
never
Go
did
fix that
in
engine.
person. Yeah.
Go fix that engine. Go change the fan belt. Go put
Has
a new.
anybody said that to you
Go put a new water pump on there. Like,
in
what?
person? Like in
What?
the real world, people have said, I'm smart enough, I'll figure that out.
Oh, not lately. Like when in my youth, when I used to spend a lot of time at gun shops and gun shows and that kind of a thing. Yeah. Oh yeah. People are like, all right, how hard can it be? I've had someone say, how hard can it be? You just point and pull the trigger.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's believable. Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
That's
How hard could it be? Can't be that hard.
Especially because I'm spoiled in the regard that I have never really had to spend a lot of time around gun shops to get the information that I want to learn. So it's a difference in my experience versus your experience. You spend a lot of times in gun shops where there's definitely FUDs.
Oh, my social media was standing in a gun shop
Yeah.
in secondhand smoke and coffee.
Secondhand smoking coffee.
Yeah, that was my social media. My 19, 20-year-old social media was being in an old school gun shop where they had chairs and standing ashtrays. Remember those stand-up ashtrays?
Yeah, I remember the one in Worcester had those. They had
Yeah,
two chairs
and-
sitting right there, and then the ashtrays.
And people just and when you walked into the gun, and people were like, what? They were smoking inside of a business? What? Yeah, but see, the people who went in there,
They all smoked.
they weren't crybabies. Yeah, I didn't smoke cigarettes. I didn't, but I didn't cry.
Yeah.
I said, you need to not do that because it offends me. Because Charlie was behind the counter smoking. That was just going to happen. But I did learn some good things there. People who had experience would tell you, when I bought my first pump action defensive shotgun from Nick, he's like, well, if you're going to practice, use this. But if you think you might have to use it for real, and he reached down and he got the double-aught buck and he put it on, he goes, this is what you load. So you don't practice with this because it's way too expensive, and you can practice with buckshot, but you're not, let's face it, you're not going to shoot 100 rounds of double-aught buck. Yes, I am. Okay, whatever. You need to do that. And something actually, going back to our shotgun discussion, you need to pattern your shotgun so that goes back to the whole, I'll never miss. So, all right, let's do the last one, and then we'll go ahead and get out of here. And this isn't Cane's, the chicken restaurant, for those of you who are all excited. Oh, this story from truthaboutguns.com.
It's from Grace Stevens, May 10th, 2022. It says canes look a lot like rifles in Arizona, and that's that.
Oh,
A day after a Kingman, Arizona, hey, I've been there before, school was placed on lockdown following an unconfirmed report of a man with a firearm in the vicinity. Bullhead police were notified by two callers of a man walking with a rifle in the area of several Bullhead City schools. Turns out that Friday's call were in reference to a man on Hancock Road with a walking stick, not a firearm.
yeah.
Wow. Do I have to keep reading? This is a quote from the Bullhead City Police Department's public information officer. It says the Bullhead City Police Department received two separate calls reporting a man walking in the area of Hancock Road armed with a rifle. Police units responded and found a man matching the description in the 1100 block of Hancock near the Bullhead City School District office and Bullhead City Middle School. Police
It's a lot of bull.
contacted him.
That's a lot of bull in one sentence.
Police contacted him. It turned out to be a cane. He was released, and that was that.
But not before they placed the school on lockdown.
Craziness.
So you'd think
teaching our children
before we hit the panic alarm, let's send somebody in a patrol car over there to see what's up. I mean, it wasn't a shots fired call, right? It wasn't shots fired. It wasn't robbery in progress. It was like, I saw a man, I think he has a rifle and he's walking down the street. And so if you're a dispatcher, you're like, okay, I've probably heard this song before. Who's nearest unit? Car 72. Can you go to 8th and Elm? Check out. And that's what you do. You send car 72 over there, and they're like, yeah, it's a 68-year-old guy with a walking stick. How, or first of all, how have we gotten to the point where we've created such a generation of sheep?
Fear-based marketing.
That you see a black stick, and every black stick. I mean, how long has it been since we did the umbrella story? And remember, it wasn't just one. It was multiple stories where people had a black umbrella and people they were locking down schools.
Yeah. The root of the cause is the question. This is the question. Why, when somebody sees somebody with a rifle, do they assume that they're going to do harm to other people?
Yeah, even if it was.
Yeah, even if it was a rifle, why is the immediate thing, hey, that guy's about to go shoot a school?
Yeah. And how does your brain, it's like, I don't know, is it the Mandela effect or whatever? How do you see someone with an object, a long black object, keep it clean, and say, oh, that's a rifle? Have you never seen, like, are these people on 911, have they never seen a walking stick or a cane?
Well, it might have been shaped like a gun. Who knows?
Yeah, it might have been.
The actual cane.
Yeah, it might have been. How about the umbrellas? It could have been a rifle-shaped umbrella. No, it wasn't. It was an umbrella, and you're an imbecile. That is what the 24-hour news cycle has given us. It has given us people that are they're just waiting to be afraid. They just wake up every day wondering what they're supposed to be afraid of. How horrible and pathetic would that be to be that kind of person? Like every morning when you wake up, you have to grab your phone to figure out what you're supposed to be afraid of today. So, I don't know. It just keeps happening. People calling but the worst thing, and the thing that really bothers me, is this: what are we doing to our children?
Yes.
With this constant fear mongering, this constant fear cycle. So there was no threat at all. There was zero threat. It was a guy with a walking stick or a cane walking down the street, down the sidewalk. And based upon that, with no real evidence whatsoever, they put these children into a panic mode. You know what it does to your brain when you're constantly given the panic dump, when you get that chemical, the fear chemical?
It actually reduces your capability to do other things.
Yes, it reduces your ability to differentiate between what's real and what's not, to reason.
Cortisol, the stress hormone or the stress chemical, when that's dumped, it reduces the other things.
Yes. So what we're doing is we're putting our kids in a constant state of fear. We're psychologically terrorizing these children over what? Over nothing.
Their grandpa with the cane.
Yeah, grandpa with a cane. The college professor in Philadelphia with a black umbrella was shut down, put people in. Remember, business parks and office buildings were put into lockdown? They were told to shelter in place over nothing.
His umbrella should have had an orange tip on it. That way everyone could have told.
Yeah.
I have a whole entire story about that, but that's for another day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being a part of the Student of the Gun show today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We enjoyed delivering it to you. Tomorrow, Supreme Court sides with, nope, that's Friday. State proposed federal gun license, or Senate proposed federal gun license bill. Now, for those of you that are worried about how you're going to put gas in your car, whether you're going to be able to find baby food, and what you're going to eat next week, you probably missed this story. But the brave, courageous Democrat senators in Washington, D.C., gas shortage, we don't care. Diesel fuel shortage, we don't care. Baby food shortage, we don't care.
It actually it helps them because the people are focused on how they're going to pay for their daily bills.
So instead of
to focus on what's going on in DC.
Instead of thinking, maybe we should have energy independence. Maybe we should have secure borders. No, what we need is a bill that will require everyone in America who buys a gun to get a license from the federal government. Really? That's what you're thinking, huh? Okay. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you why all those people actually should be in jail right now. And I'm going to back it up with evidence. Unlike most people that don't back things up with evidence. We're going to have a lead
going to jail.
Yeah. Is anyone going to jail? So Glenn, did you listen to the Glenn Beck show that I told you to listen to?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was what he said.
Yeah.
Is anybody going to jail?
Yes. So when the government can break the laws that they apply to you, when the government says to you, if you break that law, we're going to put you in jail. But then they do that, I'm not a scientist or anything, and my name's not Daniel Webster, but I would say that's the definition of tyranny. Just saying. We're going to have a fighting fitness for you. Don't know what, but it's going to be there.
Something that's awesome.
And we're also going to have a leadership lesson. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, I want you to, join us by going to getsotg.com. That's getsotg.com. That way you can be there for the grad program. And until then, remember, you're a beginner once.
You're a student for life.
We appreciate your reviews. If you haven't left a review or updated yours recently, head on over to Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast player to voice your opinion. Don't forget to join us at the Student Lounge, a place for like-minded individuals to learn, connect, and support each other. No chicanery will be tolerated. Remember to check studentofthegun.com daily for new, free content and giveaways. Watch, listen, read, shop, and connect at studentofthegun.com. Are you a social butterfly? Connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for new content each and every day at Student of the Gun. Watch Student of the Gun TV and videos from our trusted partners on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Chromecast, and even AirPlay. Go to studentofthegun.com for direct links, and remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.